And more meat, less meat is, of course, just the pink, shimmering, near-vegan tip of an academic iceberg, which is Meatigation, which has been going on for, since before the pandemic, really. So for many years now. And in order to fill that dimension into the opening of the exhibition, we thought we'd just have a brief panel talk to complete the picture. So the person who initiated all this and the real star of the evening is Sophia Efstathiou.
Yay.
And next to her, we have the Center for Genomic Gastronomy, Cathrine Kramer and Denfeld. And of course, Alex Murray and Melissa Logan, the inimitable Chicks on Speed. So some of you may worry. Oh, I should also say that this is being streamed live. So some of us are elsewhere, but still tuning in. And some may worry. Some may not. Some may worry, yes, but some may also wonder. Sophia, when did you decide that this research project, which it really, I mean, it's a huge multidisciplinary research project on meat consumption and traditions. When did you decide that this project would also incorporate Chicks on Speed? Or involve?
It's right in the beginning.
Yeah, from before, of course, we submitted
we're good friends.
Yeah, we were already working together. I had already been working also with artists and very much inspired by art for many, many years since my research in the US. And so for me, art, I'm in philosophy, art and artistic methods provide us new ways of thinking with. So given that food is culture, we thought our research should expand into culture and involve social scientists, historians, humanists, other humanists like philosophers, but also artists. So was there a specific moment? I can't remember, but there was certainly the decision of making this into a big exhibition. Because I had known of the Center for Genomic Gastronomy, and Alex and I had discussed also different artists who would be really good to invite here. And so I had known of their work also through Nora Vage's work and research. And our initial idea was like, okay, let's have some funding for some activities or some interventions and use these interventions maybe to test out some of our hypotheses. But then, yeah, it was actually after discussing with Gretchen, my friend Gretchen, and like figuring this out Gretchen Ziegler, we were like, okay, let's actually go for bigger. Let's because I was like, I don't know, will it be enough, etc. So so we decided to make it a big part of our budget, actually.
And it's also, I mean, the project around more meat, less meat is huge. How many researchers are you involved in?
Yeah, we are 11 researchers, and we are growing because there are doctoral students who are joining us, some master's students as well, and so the family is kind of expanding. And it has been a collective effort from the start, this project, and that has been one of the most beautiful things about it, because I think it has allowed us all to feel ownership of it. From the very start, it was Marius Korsnes and Fay Jäver who are here, and Terje Finstad and others who were sort of hatching this idea from the start, and it's been great to be leading it.
So a little bit like a Chicks on Speed project or a CGG
Indeed.
project, because you've also, I mean, for your works for this exhibition, or that we can see in the exhibition, it's not just Chicks on Speed or the hardcore of Chicks on Speed. There's a lot of people involved. Yes. Could you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, I think that all started when we had many meetings together that Sophia had organised, and we started to use artistic methods, improvisation, coming from dance, contact improv, various methods. And we started to apply them in situations where we would use, say, wordplay, and then we would turn, say, certain words that we'd sort of collected during these meetings. There were sort of key terms, acting as sort of metaphors and drivers for, these social challenges that we now face. So we'd use those and turn them into sort of poetic narratives inside screen prints. So this enabled us to actually create artworks all together. And so it was no longer just, okay, Chicks on Speed is making an artwork, it's Chicks on Speed and collaborators, many of the students from the Art Academy where I teach, like Mohammed Bayesteh, Marius Reed, thank you also, and just Liz Dom, working with us across disciplines, the music video, which Liz was working on with Unor Andrea. So we brought in a lot of alumni as well, but it was that thing of just going across disciplines, but also transgenerational as well, and across mediums, and just starting like around 4 years ago, just to make a lot of work with a lot of people.
Yeah. And this is something that you've done before in other, or you have collaborated before. Sophia was...
We've worked we work a lot. When Melissa and I are going to play a live concert, Sophia comes on Zoom and does idearobics, she becomes Jane Fonda, the philosopher.
It's ideobics.
Ideobics.
It's ideas and aerobics together.
And we found out that this was pretty amazing to start a show, whether it was 50 people or 2,000 people. She was able to warm them up from anywhere in the world. And
also we have collaborators from previous collaborations. Kati Glass, for example, is here with us doing the textile parts of the exhibition for a large part, and also Douglas Gordon, who we've collaborated doing performance with. A burnt shirt of his fit very well with the installation, so that found its way here as well. And concretely with the collaboration with the research group, there's a sound piece with recordings that were made during a meeting where spontaneous words were spoken to the microphone, and those are at the far end of the gallery by the window as a surround sound piece.
It was even like a choir. We started all singing together eventually. So it was this kind of amazing situation as kind of a project leader, where suddenly you see your team of researchers singing. There's too much meat in the discount counter.
And that's after 3 days of discussion and people presenting very in detail projects, very impressive research. And then the last day became a choir.
So this sort of improvising artistic practice becomes a part of improvising thought, becomes a part of your academic practice.
Definitely.
But also
goes back into, the Center for Genomic Gastronomy works very much with scientific content and takes a scientific starting point for your artistic practices. Tell us a little bit about Center for Genomic Gastronomy and...
Whoa, yikes. That was a wake-up call. You gotta wake up too. One thing that we do, like Chicks on Speed, is try to involve an extended network of collaborators. And so in this show, there's even moments where the networks reconnect. So we have a collaborative piece with Oren Katz, who is an artist who was with the first part of the first art group that created and served meat grown in the lab back in 2003, I think. And I believe Orlan was at that dinner. So there's a sort of a nice touching point with the different collaborators. But yeah, so people like Oren, who has been looking at this fantasy of lab-grown meat for 20 plus years, and then really working with him and inviting other scientists to the stage to inquire what that might taste like, what not only like how we feel about it ethically, but actually taking seriously the aesthetics of something like lab-grown meat. And then maybe on the other extreme, we were very lucky to run into Stephen Barstow here in Trondheim, which you should tell that story.
Yeah, so I think with all of this discussion around meat in the Meatigation research project, we wanted to direct our attention towards the plants and discovered Stephen Barstow, who I did see wandering around. He's here somewhere. Hi, there he is. So he's, I would say that it's almost a portrait of his garden in the back room there, where we collected many of his plants that he's growing or that are available now in January, because one of the narratives around meat eating is that, in Norway you have to eat meat in the winter because you can't eat plants because nothing grows. But I think Stephen Barstow has proven that that's not true. Lots of things can grow, you just have to find the right way to do it. And also, with that, I want to point out to people there's QR codes on all of the gallery labels, and for that room specifically, he talks about each of the plants, and there's an audio that you can find if you use your phone and listen to him talk about each of the plants and why they're very interesting for this climate or historically or whatever the case may be for that specific plant. So in the I guess that room fits in the less or the no meat category. And the more meat category is perhaps the meatball multiverse, where we looked at meatballs from 100% meat to 0% meat, and when is it a meatball, and when is it not a meatball, and is it a meatball when it has 0% meat?
And we have some say in that.
Yeah, you can decide for yourself. That's the whole point. We're not here to tell you, what it is. It's more a question for you to ask and answer for yourself.
But yes, and involving us in answering the questions and so on also extends into your work in the project for a new national dish.
Yeah.
Norwegian.
Could be a Norwegian, if you'd like that, Norwegian national dish.
Or Norwegian.
We were really excited about that one because we've done new national dish projects in France, United Arab Emirates, Poland, Portugal. But this was the first time where like the politicians beat us to the punch. So Sylvie Listhaug, did this politician from the FRP, did this sort of survey. And so it was super interesting that actually there was already this precedent for a country looking at its national dish and saying, hey, should we rethink this? It came out as a hung jury. They just stayed with Foika. But we felt like as artists, this was nice because we weren't making this up whole cloth. We could say, actually, this is a conversation that's happened once, and next year will be the 10-year anniversary of that. So it felt pretty unusual to enter into a space that was already put there by politics.
So we're in a way reenacting the survey that she created, but with a slight bias towards
a different slant.
Yeah, with a bit more intention on asking people about plant-based alternatives.
Because it's really important to know that they threw out the children's answers.
Yes, because if children won the vote, we would have all been having tacos as our national dish today. So, yeah.
Okay. So now we've talked for about 20 minutes about mitigation. Perhaps there are some people here who have not been involved in the project. It just struck me. So, Sophia, tell us a little bit more about what is the basic idea of mitigation?
So mitigation started in April 2020, together with Corona, pretty much, and it's going until the end of September 24. And we are funded by the Norwegian Research Council to do climate research. And we are one of the few projects that have an expertise in the humanities, social sciences, and arts, though we do have a nutritionist in our team, Silvia Coutinho. And our aim and our approach is that for any change to happen, any food transition, food transformation to take place, as a lot of the science data and also combined with health data is advising us, then we need to actually want to do that. We, the broader we, the social we. We need to be inspired to cut down on meat. I mean, it feels really wrong to be cutting down on something you like. So what would take its place, and how should we think of meat replacement? Is it a meat replacement? Has it actually been meat that is getting replaced, or did meat itself replace vegetables historically in our diets? So these are questions that we're asking and discussing among us and with different stakeholders, because this is a project that's not just an academic project, but it's a collaboration project, which means that we are collaborating. Our partners include farmers, retail. We have a Menu as one of our partners, who are the biggest retailer in Norway, and restaurants, a vegan restaurant, Folkekjøkken. So different organizations that work with food and food distribution, food production, and food transformation as well. So yeah, so it's a project that's ongoing. We're open to suggestions, to ideas. Anyone who wants to talk to us, please do. There's several of us here.
And how long is the project due to run for?
Until the end of September 24. Okay. So
so it's not sort of until things change.
Oh, well, perhaps we can get Meatigation 2.0, 3.0, and so on. But yeah.
And again, returning to the question of involving art. Now, did you see it? Obviously, I know that in your practice you use figures from art. We had a talk earlier about the objet trouvé, like found objects, found philosophy, and these kinds of things. Your long collaborations with Chicks on Speed and so on. Did you have preconceived ideas about what you wanted art to do in this project, or has it grown organically?
I think my idea, or our idea, also was to work together. So Kat, Zach, Alex, Mel would join our meetings. We would read things together. We would sort of progressively build towards some of our outcomes that you see here. So it was a quite organic process. I guess what...
We're like responding to Meat and Drag, to your article.
Exactly,
like
right. So that was also unexpected, of course, because I didn't have those ideas at all to start with. So my expectation was that artistic practice and artistic modes of expression, communication, and moving people to think, or compelling people to reconsider certain preconceived ideas, would really add to such a project where we are talking about affects, we're talking about habits, we're talking about tastes and homeliness of certain things, and comfort or discomfort. So it was important to find tools to dig into these levels of existence, of human existence, and collective social existence.
And this is, of course, very understandable from
your perspective. Am I speaking jargon?
But how has it been seen by the scientific community? Have you had any pushback against that kind of?
I think they're a little jealous. Frankly,
as well they should be, but
whenever I've presented this work, I feel like they think I'm having too much fun.
Okay. But yeah.
Or at least,
But are you allowed to have this much fun, or?
Yes, I am. Of course I am. Because, you know, what else moves people to act?
Exactly.
Duty?
You don't want to paralyze
sure.
people. And
Duty
pop,
moves people,
yeah,
but, you
and
know,
pop music is a
so
really
does pleasure.
strong way to get messages across, you know,
Yes,
in a fun
yes.
way. And
Yeah.
that's what the music video next
Yeah.
door does, I think.
There's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of humor in
Yes,
the exhibition.
certainly.
With
Yeah.
the meatballs, with
By
meat and
Leslie
drag, with
Leslie
the-
Johnson made the meatballs.
with flying, and many meatballs, and flying salamis and burger, meat and drag.
Meat body by
So
Pancho
yeah,
Goebel.
very much humor. That actually surprised me because perhaps it's difficult to deal with devastating situations like climate and this earthquake that just hit, and that in the future that we'll just be seeing more of this unless something does take place. So the urgency that is there, it's pretty heavy. So I guess that's how the humor became more and more present in the presentation and the exhibition.
Yeah,
That's right.
Zach, you said something yesterday that you were a bit worried that people would think there was too much humor, or that
I mean, I think it's really fun to work on the show with Chicks on Speed and all the collaborators, because I think there's a shared appreciation for what fun and humor can do in the face of like real crisis. And I always get a little bit nervous when we show in Norway, because art is very serious here, as it should be, but it's so serious that we have to laugh or else we would kill ourselves. So that's why we use humor to get through the day. And so I think hopefully I want people to come to this show and not necessarily feel optimistic, but at least feel some hope. And that's one of the things that humor can do, is to just shake us a bit about our norms and our expectations, and let us find some other path that we didn't expect, and that's going to be uncomfortable, and then we can laugh at it. Yeah, I hope so.
Well said.
Yeah, I think, yes.
Cut. No.
There's been a lot of talking. Now
We have a
can-
drink
Yeah.
to celebrate.
We
yes.
want questions from the audience. If people
Yes.
have-
Do we have any questions from the audience?
No?
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we're ready for music and fun then.
Yeah.
And thank
And
you, Johan.
And food.
Thank you, Sophia.
Okay.
Thank
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 you.
you so much,
And
Sophia.
there's so
Thank
many
you, Chicks on Speed.
collaborators
Thank
who have
you.
been instrumental in
Yes.
making this.
Yes.
It's a very, very long list.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't
And
dare
we just want to
start,
give a
but-
special shout out to Bruce Sampson and also Annelie Roros from Trondheim Academy of Fine Art, and everybody there who's supported this project for a long, long time. Jacob Jessen, thank you.
Yeah. And Liz and Camille, who are standing
Yes.
right there
There you go.
and help
You
pull
said
this all
thanks
together.
again.
Thank you.
So many people.
Yeah.
Okay.